welcome to my channel. Today we will have a look at coloring book Mysterious Faces by Kevin Teo'Art. Kevin generously sent this book to me in exchange of honest review. You know that I am not a huge fan of grayscale books, but this one immediately caught my interest because of the fantasy portraits and ethnical portraits. I do love when we have characters in national costumes or something with ethnic atmosphere, ethnic elements around, so that's why I was really interested. This book was published on Amazon, but Theo, apart from several books on Amazon, also have Etsy shop where you can purchase his books in PDF format and also to purchase individual pictures. You know that Amazon books, they are printed on very average paper. I will show you in this video and also in speech coloring video where I did my first portrait in this book, how I managed to work on this paper. But of course, if you prefer to do portraits with watercolors or to work with a lot of layers like professional colorists when you color portraits, it's better to print pictures by yourself. But still, you know that I also love to have my pictures in books when I can flip them through. I do love this design on the cover, and that was one of the portraits which immediately caught my attention. I really love this Asian girl, very sweet and also quite nice elements. In the book we have 20 portraits to color, and I do love that all characters have their own names. Somehow I think that it's sweet when you know the name of the character. It adds some interesting treat when you think about story behind the picture, when you think about which colors to use, which atmosphere to create. So I think that it's a good idea. Here we have several fantasy portraits. On some of the pictures we can find additional botanical elements, flowers, berries, leaves, and also some small creatures. There we have colibri, here we have fairies. You can see that shading is not very heavy, and that's exactly the kind of grayscale books which I can color, where shadows, they are visible but still not excessively dark. I do love also that everything surrounded by frame. For me it's easy to color in such way. I really appreciate that apart from beautiful woman faces which we can find in many coloring books, we can also find couple of male characters, which is much more rare, unfortunately. And I do love that we have very interesting hairstyle here with this cute dragon. It creates quite interesting design, one which immediately caught my attention. I do love, and the name is Malone. Some faces are more girlish, some for more adult women, and that's another part which I do love, that faces, they are different, because believe me, in some of the books girls look slightly similar one to another, and here we have a variety of genders, variety of edges, and variety of face types, and it's also quite interesting. Another nice fantasy design. This one really fun. I do love these cherries and tiny cupcakes attached here, and the thing on her head, sorry, I don't know how to call it in English, but it's extremely fun. I think that it's perfect summer design. I don't know why, but I imagine it in very bright colors. I think that she's cooking something like maybe cherry jam with dark green background and with bright red head, almost yellow hair. She will be quite nice. Well, let's move forward. Some are more traditional pictures, like this one. A lady is beautiful, of course, but I do prefer something more unusual, like this man. Again, very interesting hairstyle. And more character designs. Probably here we have some kind of mermaid, because she is surrounded by various corals and seaweeds. I do love her nose here and these freckles around. Very nice face, really. This one again is more typical. I slightly less prefer such designs, and my attention immediately goes to more fantasy and unique. Here we have quite dark page. I'm not sure yet how to color it. Maybe with markers. Probably it will be good to color such hair. At least I need to practice how to color such a dark grayscale page. Oh, that was one of the designs which I wanted to start immediately. Here we have 3 designs in Indian style, and they immediately went on top of my to-do list. That was first Yuma. All the details are gorgeous, and of course I love everything attached to the hair, and face is also beautiful. But I started from another design. That's my start in this book. As usual, when I test paper, I mixed a lot of pencils here. I started from Derwent Color Softs on the background. Then I switched to Derwent Drawing and Kohinoor Polycolor on the tree. On the girl, I tested both my Sucolor or Blackbird Funners, Starjoy Arteza pencils. What can I say? If you have blender and if you have black polychromos pencil, you will be able to color even on this Amazon paper. Yeah, it's not great, but it's totally possible to color. What was interesting for me, it's about quality of printing, so I was quite happy to find that this gray pigment is not create any dust, doesn't create any dust or doesn't create any dirt even when I cover it with light colors. So quality of this gray and black pigment on the paper is good, so you won't be risking to create some dirt even when you work with soft pencils or when you work with blender. So apart from the thin paper, everything else is good. I found that with more softer pencils like Prismacolors or Sucolor, I have more difficulties to work. They cover paper quickly, but still there are visible white spots on the paper, so I need a lot of blending, and also they create more dust. Slightly harder pencils like Starjoy, for example, or even Arteza, they work better. They are able to keep their tip for a longer time, because with soft pencils, thin tip of the pencil, it disappears in a moment in such paper. But Starjoy, Arteza, and of course Polychromos, they work really well. Surprisingly, pencils like Kohinoor Polycolor, which are very demanding to the paper quality, worked here also quite well because of the bigger paper tooth. They don't like smooth paper like in Creative Haven book, but here tooth is more, you can feel more tooth, so pencils like Polycolor, you can use them, and it's a good thing because I don't use this set frequently. And another thing which I would recommend to use for shading everywhere, here I used black polychromos to create more intense, more deep shadows to cover some of the pre-existed shading, so I used this pencil. If you have blender, then you definitely will be enjoying working in this book. I hope that you will also watch my speed coloring video when I will finish this design. I also intend to try using a little bit of paint here. I'm sure that paints which don't require water like acrylic or gouache, it will be quite easy to use them even on this thin paper. I intend to try gouache here on the feathers, and maybe for some test I also will use gouache or acrylic somewhere on the backgrounds, because in some of the pictures we have more empty background, maybe like this one. So that's where I want to try paint. After that, you will be able to see with your own eyes what is possible and what's impossible to do on this paper. You can see why I selected this design. Apart from the very beautiful costume, I would say that face is extremely beautiful. I do love how Kevin depicts eyes. All eyes in the book, they are beautiful. Also very delicate features on the face. All noses are very elegant, beautiful lips, and it's absolutely adorable animal. Well, let's move to another design in Indian style, another cutie. I wanted to start from this one, but I decided that I want to test pencils on slightly bigger portrait, and here we have more animal and less portrait. So maybe it will be the next. Let's move forward. This one somehow tells me that it would be nice to color it with markers. Another thing I want to test in this book. Maybe this one is more autumn design. I really love this wind coming over the page. And this one might be even closer to winter, even if we have grasshopper here. And that's another part of the book which I really love, when we have Japanese or maybe Chinese or Asian designs. I think that this girl, which we also can find on the cover, is absolutely beautiful. And the next one. I really love this fan. Beautiful. You can see that faces, indeed, they have their own expressions, that they are different, and again, that's what I really appreciate. After these 20 pictures, we have also bonuses from other books by Kevin. This one is absolutely adorable. I do love this squirrel hanging with the ear. Beautiful picture. I don't need to discover from which book is this one. This one is more traditional, but it's nice that we can practice how to color a girl in glasses. Not very frequent we can find such design in the books. And another adorable monkey here. Probably here I can test paint on this empty background. Sometimes this empty background, it's what totally makes me afraid to start coloring something, so maybe playing colorful background with gouache or acrylic can help. Another fantasy design, quite interesting. So you can see that Kevin works in different styles. Some of them are more sketchy, and this one also quite intricate. Another interesting design. I don't know how it will be possible to color it in grayscale with such small details, but maybe with polychromasis it will be possible. In the end, we can find links to the Teo books on Amazon and his Etsy shop. Of course, I will leave these links in the end of the book. Well, it's challenging book for me. You know that I'm still a little bit afraid to color big portraits, but here with this delicate shading it's much easier to start coloring faces. And apart from the surface of the paper, and that paper is relatively thin, I enjoyed my first coloring. As I said, if you prefer to work with watercolors, of course it would be better to print these designs yourself. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you will also watch the second video with this Indian girl.